Hey everyone, I'm just going to show you a quick glance of my soldering station I use here at work, and then I'll go through and I'm going to show you how to put two wires together professionally. So this is my soldering station. I've got a microscope set up right there, and it goes up here to a TV so I can demonstrate to other people what's going on with their boards, etc. And so I can see things that you can't see with the naked eye, like maybe a cold solder joint. Got a flexible gooseneck lamp right here, absolutely essential, so you can get in there and see it. I've got this aluminum plate, and then I've got these slide clamps which allow me to help position my work. I've got a soldering station there with a diaphragm pump on top, and the diaphragm pump just assists the heat gun here. The heat gun is for removing some components, but mainly for heat shrink. DC power supply and my soldering gun station. Excellent setup. Okay guys, I'm gonna go ahead and put my camera down here and I'm gonna show you how to do some wires. Let's see how well this sits. Okay, sorry for the jiggling, guys. Okay, let's see, I'm gonna go ahead and take this wire here and go ahead and clip it. Let's go ahead and strip this bad boy down. Let me get that light over here so you can see what's going on. Strip it out a little bit. Okay, you can see how much conductor is hanging out there, not very much. Okay, let's do about the exact same amount for the other side. Okay, there's my wires. I'm going to use this jig. You don't need the jig. I could do this by hand. I use pliers and stuff to hold my wires, but because I'm also videotaping, demonstrating, I'm going to use my jig. Okay, so I just twist my conductor fibers, make sure that they're all touching. Let's see if you guys can see this really good. Okay, ready. Now, I'm going to start out by tinning my wires, and you want to make sure that you use flux core solder. Now I'm going to start the tip. Actually, let's go ahead and start again. Clean your soldering iron tip first. It's going to make this a lot easier. Okay, and then I just touch the solder to the iron, put a little bit on there, touch it to the end of the wire. There we go. If I wasn't doing this as a demonstration, this would go so much faster. Okay, there you go. And you can see how I left a glob of solder at the very tip. That's going to aid you when you put these two wires together. Okay, I'm going to shake the soldering iron tip off real quick. Let's go ahead and do the other wire. Okay, and you can see I left a ball of solder on the end of that wire as well. Alright, let me readjust the clamps. Readjust the clamps. Okay. Now you can see why I use this type of clamp setup, because it really does help. Alright, and let's choose a heat shrink. Okay, so when I heat shrink, I'm going to overlap these two. Here, let me loosen it up a little bit. I'm going to overlap these two just like that, so that they're laying parallel to one another. And then I'm going to touch the solder ball and they'll flow together and your connection is done. So I'm going to cut my shrink tube to be about double the length of the repair. Slide that up. Okay, ready to touch these two bad boys together. See if I can get in here real close. Right, sorry for the shake, guys. It is what it is. Okay, so as I said, I put the two wires parallel to one another, and then I touch the solder ball, and you move the iron left to right. Ta-da! There you go. Got a little bit of extra solder down there. Okay, You seen how quick that was? Both wires are now joined together. Now we move our shrink tube over the repair. Let's go ahead and hit it with some hot air. Always use shrink tube, guys. I cannot stand electrical tape. It's the clear indicator of a bad technician, is when you use electrical tape on things. Look at that. Bam. So there we are. That's a proper connection. It's going to be solid as soon as it cools down. And you're going to have really low impedance, whereas a cold solder joint, obviously you're going to have a higher impedance. But that's all there is to it. Very simple, guys. Keep practicing. Thanks for watching.